breaking news. Woo, woo, woo. We've got breaking news here on Texans Today as Derek Stingley Jr. is getting a historic contract extension to stay in Houston. He's going to be the top paid cornerback in the National Football League. We'll break down all the contract details, what this means for your Houston Texans, and how this actually affects a lot of different people within the NFL. But first, before we get to all that, make sure you hit that sub button, because when news happens, we are always here to break it down. All 365 days of this year, I will be breaking down Texans news and rumors for you folks at home for 100% free. So if that's something you're interested in, if you love the Houston Texans, go down and hit that sub button. Let's get right into the news. Aaron Wilson, my guy. I know a lot of people reported it, but Aaron Wilson, he's my guy, so I'm always going to throw him up here on the screen. The Texans reach a 3-year, $90 million extension with the All-Pro cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. $89 million guaranteed. We couldn't just make it 90. I mean, 89 out of the 90 is guaranteed. Whatever. The newest highest paid corner in the NFL, $30 million average per year. Deal negotiated by David Mulugheta of Athletes First, which that's somewhat important. We'll get to it later on in the program. But first, let's look at now the newest list of the highest paid cornerbacks in the NFL, led by Derek Stingley Jr. at $30 million. Next up, you have J.C. Horn, who got that extension done this offseason as well. He's getting paid $25 million. And then Jalen Ramsey, 24.1. Pat Surtain, 24. Jair Alexander at that 21. Obviously, Derek Stingley Jr. getting paid, and I think deservedly so. But what say you? Obviously, you see he's $5 million more per year than the next highest paid corner in the NFL. Do you think it was smart to give Stingley a $30 million extension a year? Let me know down in the comment section. Give me a yes, give me a no. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get hit with the YouTube ad break, all good, perfect timing. Scroll on down. Do you think it was smart to give Derek Stingley $30 million a year in this contract extension? I absolutely love it. I love this deal. You lock up a young cornerstone of this team, and he's everything you want in a leader. I mean, I was talking with guys in the office about this, and I would be a little bit worried if we were paying somebody with maybe off-the-field concerns or, all these other issues. But Stingley is a guy who you want in the locker room. You want him to be one of the best guys on your team and leading the team. Him, Will Anderson Jr., C.J. Stroud, those guys lead by example, and they show a great path for every single person in this locker room. Every single guy the Texans draft year after year, they show them the standard. They show them, this is how we play Texans football. This is what we expect out of you when you come to the Houston Texans. Will Anderson said it himself this offseason. The Texans, they're not for everybody. And Derek Stingley, he lives up to that standard, and he shows that standard each and every day during the offseason and during the season. And not only to say that of what he can do in the locker room, he's also I'm not even going to say maybe, he's arguably the best cornerback in the league. Bar none. Full stop. I don't care about Pat Surtain. I don't care about Sauce Gardner. He is the best. He's top 3, and he's not 3. He's not 2. He is the best cornerback in the National Football League. You saw his stats from this past season, and even in 2023. This isn't a one-year fluke, everybody. This isn't just 1 year. He was better than Sauce Gardner in 2023. Look at these numbers. A lower completion percentage when targeted. A lower QB rating when targeted. More pass breakups. More interceptions for Mr. Stingley. He has been balling out for multiple years and proving himself to be a leader on this team. And that's why I think he's worth every single penny. Go down, spam those 24s if you agree with me, because I absolutely love the Texans doing this move, making sure they lock up one of their young guys for the future and have this secondary, have this defense on the right track. Because I'm telling you right now, I know a lot of people have worries about the Texans offense, rightfully so, with the offensive line and the woes that they still have there. There are no questions about this defense. This Texans defense is a top 5 unit going into 2025, and mainly because of guys like Derek Stingley. I'll get into more about who this impacts, how it affects the Texans and other teams around the NFL in just a moment, but I couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our amazing sponsors over at Prize Picks. Get started today with America's #1 daily fantasy sports app out there with over 10 million active members. I mean, I know the madness is coming. The madness is coming. And get started with our friends at Prize Picks because it's the easiest way to win money playing daily fantasy sports. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. It doesn't matter if you want to make some madness in this month of March or maybe some season-long projections. You know, the Houston Astros. They're about to be playing here in just a little bit. Yordan Alvarez, give me the more on his homers. Christian Walker, give me the more on his. Framber Valdez, I mean, he's your ace. I'm hoping he gets more than 11.5 wins. And in Prize Picks, you have to have one person in your lineup that's from either a different team or, you know, you can do a different sport entirely. For this one, sadly, I had to go with Kyle Tucker. I think he'll do good with the Cubbies. Give me more on his 29.5 home runs. You can use my picks or go against him. Just do it over on Prize Picks today. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code CLNS and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So get started today with our friends over at Prize Picks. Run your game. Now, some, rippling effects of the extension for Derek Stingley Jr. Here's 4 of them right here for you. 1, the Texans cap space, which they opted into his 5th-year option. So technically the extension will hit in 2026, 2027, and 2028. Those will be the 3 years of extension. And it does somewhat affect this team of, he's getting paid a basically guaranteed $30 million on a yearly basis. Now, they can parse that out how they want to do it. They can obviously add void years down on the end of it. They can do a lot of different, cap maneuvers to work around this. And I do think this isn't, I'm not saying they made the trade for Jeremy Tunsil to pay Derek Stingley Jr., but it does help because Jeremy Tunsil was looking at more extensions down the road as well, wanting more money down the road going into age, 31. And I think the Texans say, hey, we can use that money in separate areas and pay Derek Stingley by trading Jeremy Tunsil and using some of that money to recoup. They also made a move recently. They restructured the contract of Danico Autry, saving around $6-7 million a year. I knew there was going to be something with the Autry contract. I was saying they could either post June 1st cut him, they could trade him. They went ahead and said, we're going to keep Autry, but we are going to bring that cap hit down a little bit, a contract restructure. Once again, we don't have the complete details, but around $6-7 million saved with that restructure. Number 2, on who this affects and what this affects with the Derek Stingley contract extension, other teams with top cornerbacks. I mean, I love the deal for Derek Stingley Jr. I absolutely hate it, though, for J.C. Horn. I don't get what the Panthers are doing paying J.C. Horn $25 million a year for somebody who's played 30 games in 4 seasons. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. But all these guys on the list, all the up-and-comers, all the best quarterbacks in the league, your mark is $30 million now. If you want to be the guy, if you think you're the guy, you're getting paid $30 million. And you know who that affects a lot? I talked about him earlier, the Jets and Sauce Gardner. Because I think Derek Stingley's been better than Sauce Gardner. I don't think Sauce Gardner feels that same sentiment. I think he feels like he's the best cornerback in the league. And if he truly feels like that, when it comes down to it, when the rubber meets the road, the starting point for the Jets and Sauce Gardner is going to be $30 million. And I don't know if the Jets are willing to dole out that kind of money. They probably will have to at the end of the day if they want to keep Sauce in New York. But is he worth it? I don't know. The best quarterbacks coming up the pipeline, though, their starting point for negotiations, $30 million, thanks to Derek Stingley Jr. Number 3, who this affects, the Dallas Cowboys. And I know you're wondering, Jeremy, didn't they already sign Diggs? Don't they already have their cornerback situation locked up there? How does this affect the Dallas Cowboys? Let me break it down for you real quick. Right here, the Texans reach a deal. $90 million extension with Derek Stingley. And look who it was negotiated by. David Mulugheta. Now, he was also the agent for J.C. Horn. So what does this tell you? His clients are looking to reset the market. J.C. Horn reset the market. Then Derek Stingley went over the top, resetting the market. You know who else David Mulugheta represents? Micah Parsons of the Dallas Cowboys. And you know who else got paid this offseason resetting the market? Myles Garrett at the same position, $40 million a year. So if you're telling me Micah Parsons isn't starting his contract negotiations at $41 million a year, I don't know what to tell you, because you're not living in the same reality that I am, because that's where he's going immediately. Him and David Mulugheta immediately go to Jerry Jones and say, all right, well, Myles is getting 40. How are we topping that? And I don't know if the Cowboys feel comfortable paying a guy like Micah Parsons with all of his off-the-field concerns and, him not showing up in some of the biggest moments. He's an amazing pass rusher, amazing defender, a, guy who's been in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation for multiple seasons. But character-wise and building this team culture-wise, do the Dallas Cowboys feel comfortable giving a guy like Micah Parsons more than $40 million a year? Jerry, I don't know if there's enough pieces of the pie for all of that, but we'll see what happens, because that extension should be coming in the next year or so, and I'm very interested to see what the Cowboys do. I think right now it's a coin flip whether or not the Cowboys trade him or whether or not they sign him, because that's going to be a tough decision down here in Frisco with Jerry Jones and the boys to decide what they do with Micah Parsons. Lastly, what this extension affects, who it affects the most: opposing quarterbacks. I mean, it's scary hours for anybody going up against this Texans defense right now, because you have to go up against the three-headed monster in the secondary that is Derek Stingley Jr., Kamari Lassiter, and Kalen Bullock. Now, these interceptions are including the playoffs as well, but 5 for Kalen, 4 for Kamari, 7 for Derek Stingley Jr., and on top of that, you add, I don't know, maybe the best pass rushing duo in the NFL with Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. This Texans defense is what nightmares are made of. Nightmare fuel, nightmare fuel, nightmare fuel. I mean, opposing quarterbacks, I can't even imagine what they're going through 24 hours before they have to face this defense, because D'Amico Ryans has some guys out there that are ready to hit, ready to take the ball away, and ready to suck the life out of any opposing offense that tries to step foot on the same field as this Texans defense. I love the extension for Derek Stingley Jr., and I'm excited to see the other moves to be made. I think maybe, free agency, it's been kind of quiet the past couple days for the Houston Texans. I think this is why. I think they were working on this deal. They said, hey, we're not making any more signings. We're not doing anything else until we get this deal done. Now that the deal is done, I think you could see the Houston Texans go out and make a couple more moves this offseason, maybe in the next week or so, of making some more signings. I'll obviously break all those down. I'll be here for the latest Texans news and rumors all week long. Another reason why you got to hit that sub button. If you want to continue the conversation, you can follow me on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs. But hey, you made it to the end of the video. Why not hit that sub button? If you love the Houston Texans, if you want to stay up to date, if you're a huge Texans fan, you got to go down and hit that sub button.